Come on in. You're just in time for a story. We're reading Space Station Mars by Daniel San Souci. One summer afternoon, Billy, Craig, and Andy met me and my brothers at the clubhouse. My dad promised to drive us to the matinee in the shipwreck. The theater was packed. The movie was really scary. We were all glad when it was finally over, except for my older brother, Bobby. He said he wanted to see it 7 more times. That night, we slept over in the clubhouse. We kept talking about the movie and went outside. Bobby pointed out Mars. I bet there are flying saucers above us right now from that planet, he said. Suddenly, a streak of light flashed across the sky. There goes one now, yelled my younger brother, Mike. That's just a shooting star, said Billy. Flying saucers don't go that fast. A shooting star is a meteor that's burning up, said Andy. A meteor is a rock from outer space, and sometimes they crash on Earth, said Bobby. They kind of look like regular rocks, said Craig. I suddenly remembered something. The other day I saw a meteor in Mrs. Gray's backyard. In the morning, I showed everyone the meteor. Stand back, warned Bobby. It might be radioactive. We went home and made some gear to protect us from danger. Then we carried the meteor back to the clubhouse. Later on that day, Bobby showed up with Neil, who was spending a few weeks with his grandmother across the street. He's going to test the meteor for us, said Bobby. Neil opened up his chemistry set. Very interesting, he murmured. He did a quick experiment. There was lots of foam, and it smelled awful. Only a meteor would stink this bad, he said. Neil looked at some particles from the meteor under a microscope. It's definitely Martian, he concluded. Everyone take a look. You'll see why it can only be from Mars. We took turns looking in the microscope, and we all agreed this was proof that the meteor was from Mars. Now the big question, Neil said. Is this Martian meteor radioactive? He ran test after test. Good news, he finally said. It's not. Phew, we all sighed. Besides being a meteor expert, Neil knew lots of other things about outer space. In his grandmother's garage, we saw Neil's stuff from home. He had star charts and maps of the universe and books with pictures of what aliens really look like. But best of all, he had a telescope and a crystal radio he built by himself. As soon as I decide where to set up this equipment, I'm going to start making contact with aliens. You can set up in our clubhouse, offered Bobby. Then we can help you contact aliens, I said. Neil nodded. The clubhouse would be the perfect place to track flying saucers. The next day, we renamed the clubhouse Space Station Mars. In the evenings, when it got dark, we would all meet. Neil listened to noises from outer space on his crystal radio. He scribbled information in a code that only he knew. What we are doing is top secret, he said. Mike and Andy worked the telescope. They searched the skies for flying saucers. Bobby and Billy used color stick pens to track flying saucers crossing the galaxy. My job was to draw pictures of aliens for the clubhouse walls. Craig's job was to hold the flashlight so I could see what I was doing. The first few days, all Neil picked up was odd crackling on the radio. It's coming from the far end of the galaxy, he said, but it's a language I'm not familiar with. One evening, strange events started to unfold. Mike and Andy spotted a blinking light between the moon and Professor Stern's chimney. There was so much static and crackling on the crystal radio that Neil warned, "Something big is about to happen." Just then, Bobby moved a yellow stick pin. "We've got a flying saucer about to land on Earth," he yelled. Oh my goodness. "What do they want?" I asked. Neil jumped out of his chair. "I know," he said. "It's the same thing that happened in a comic book I read." We had no idea what he was talking about. He took the meteor from its shelf. "The aliens want this back. It's an energy force that keeps life going on their planet." "Oh," we said. The next evening, Dad asked Mom, "Have you seen that dome-shaped thing across from the park?" "I don't recall anything like that," she replied. "Just now when I was driving home from work, I saw it," he said. "Funny, I never noticed it before. What does it look like?" "I guess it kind of looks like a flying saucer," he said. "What's for dinner?" The second Bobby and I heard what Dad said, we raced to the phone to call an emergency meeting at Space Station Mars. We decided we had to give the meteor back to the aliens. "Aliens are unpredictable," warned Neil. "If we see any, I will make contact and return their meteor." We all agreed that he was best for the job. We started on our journey first thing in the morning. It didn't take long to find the flying saucer. By taking a few shortcuts, we made it in good time. It was bigger than we could have ever imagined. Then something amazing happened. 2 aliens with ray guns came out of nowhere. Neil picked up the meteor and started walking towards them. "I hope they don't shoot their ray guns," I said to Bobby. "If they do, I'm cutting out of here," he replied. Neil stood right in front of the aliens. I was so nervous that my knees shook. He handed the meteor to one of them and said, "Here's what you have come to Earth to find." Neil turned slowly and walked back to where we were hiding. "Ditch," shouted Bobby, and we raced away. "Hey, why did that kid hand you that rock?" asked one of the painters. "I have no idea," the other said. "But we better get to work. We still have the entire back side of this water tank to paint." On the news that night, we heard that an unexplained electrical surge knocked out the power to the city for a short time. We figured it was caused by the flying saucer taking off for Mars. A few days later, Neil's parents showed up, loaded his stuff in the trunk of their car, and drove him home. A week before school was to start, we received a letter from Neil. But we couldn't read it because it was in secret code. The end.